Welcome to another edition of Copeland's Corner. I got a great panel of comics joining us to talk about the news of the week. Robert Mack is here. David Spark is here. I almost called you Sparks. Sorry. I was thinking Nevada. Sorry. And Tony Camin is here. So welcome, everybody. Good to have everybody back. Um, let's see. Well, first of all, I want to do a disclaimer of sorts. We, of course, are going to talk about the biggest news story of the week, which is the Swalwell scandal. And because of the nature of this, we really tried hard to get one of the women comics who are regulars on the show to come on, and nobody was available. Because, if you're watching this going, what are four guys doing talking about this and not having a woman's perspective? We tried like crazy and nobody was available. So next week's panel it's all women comics. All three next week. I don't know who we've
I
got.
will. I will present my feminine side.
I mean, we
Brian.
had binders full of women comics.
Who was that? I forgot.
Romney.
It was Romney. Binders full of women. Okay. Oh, there they are. And there it is. We had binders and binders. We try to mix it up. And we almost always have a panel of that includes at least one woman, and on a couple of occasions just all women. It's always a great show. But this is a sensitive topic, and of course, it needs a woman's perspective because being guys, ours is not going to be the same. But I think that it makes sense to hear what both panels are going to have to say about this. So let me start. Excuse me, I got a frog today. I want to start.
Frog, I hope.
It's going to make me my voice higher. I'm going to start with this. I have known Eric Swalwell since he was first elected. About a week or two after he was first elected, and it was an upset because the seat that he held was held by Pete Stark, who had been my congressman in the East Bay here in the Bay Area for 40 years. And he was at the point where I think it was in his 70s, and he was at the point where he didn't even basically campaign anymore because he didn't have to. His name's Eric, but he knows that they're going to vote for him. And Swalwell kind of came out of nowhere and campaigned, and he's young, and he's got student loan debt, and a young, I think she's pregnant at the time, pregnant girlfriend at the time, and he won. It was an upset. So I had him on KGO radio with me maybe about 2 weeks after he won. The very first time, and he became a regular, and we became friends. And when I say friends, I've never been to his house, I've never socialized with him, but been on the radio with him a ton of times. There is here on the Copeland's Corner channel, there is a sit down that we did a one-on-one interview about. I want to say about 4 months ago, and it is still available if you want to see it. I have been a supporter of his. He is or was my congressman. Even when they redrew the district, he ended up being my congressman. And I'm going to go farther than that. I was looking at, I texted him frequently. We texted back and forth frequently.
Pictures?
No. We'll get to that. I shouldn't say frequently. That's not accurate. That overstates it. It's not accurate. But there are text exchanges about things. Tom Sawyer and I were trying to put together a big benefit for Kamala, a big comics benefit for Kamala, and it was coordinated through his office. And the last text I had with him was about 2 weeks ago. We were talking about me putting together a comedy show for his gubernatorial campaign, a fundraiser. So I'm telling you all of this in the interest of disclosure. So that being said, the way that I feel about this is it's just, well, first of all, it was hard to believe. That was the first thing. The second part of it is I'm bummed. I'm angry. I am disappointed. I'm incredibly disappointed. If you had said, pick somebody out of the 400 and however many Congress people we have who is involved in this kind of activity, he'd be the last person I would have said. One of the last people.
What is one of the last people? So the three of us would be ahead of him?
Way ahead if you were elected.
In Congress, I think.
Way ahead.
Yeah.
Way ahead. So that said, just a couple of different issues as far as this is concerned. He is saying, or one of the statements that his attorney put out, that he has not been treated fairly as far as this is concerned. Here you had a bunch of allegations, and let's be honest about this. These are allegations. Okay, these are allegations. They're serious allegations, and they should be taken seriously, but they're allegations. And within 3 days, he's got to drop out of the governor's race without any kind of a due process thing or any kind of a due process hearing or anything of the kind. It's just the fact that these allegations were made. And then after that, he has to give up his House seat. Now, whether you think that he is guilty of it or not, and be quite honest, when there's smoke like this, there's almost always fire. Come on. Let's start with that question. How do you respond to him saying he hasn't been treated fairly?
Well, he didn't have to give out his House seat. He did give out it. It wasn't, I'm sure he had.
Yeah, he did.
He had a lot of pressure, but it was his call, and I think it was the right call because, like you said, when there's smoke, there's fire, and there's more coming out all the time. And there was stuff before if you paid attention, like little things here and there. So I think, as opposed to some other parties, we like to do the right thing and cut even extremely. Let's do the right thing and let's believe women here and after investigations. But I think ending it and opening up the governor race is the right move.
Okay, well let me put this up. First of all, yeah, he really had to go, and the reason that he had to do it is because if he hadn't, there was going to be a resolution introduced in the House to kick him out, just like they did George Santos. And with a 2/3 vote in the House, believe me, every Republican would have done it, and probably every Republican would have done it would have voted to oust him out of partisanship, and every Democrat would have voted because that's what Democrats do. If he were a Republican, do you think that this would be the same, or do you think they would have tried to kick him out, or do you think they would have doubled down? I'll ask David that. You think they would have doubled down?
No. So the Republicans have a history of defending their own and fighting it. And the Democrats have a history of folding immediately. Mm-hmm. Take a look at Al Franken. That was fast folding on far less sort of accusations than what Swalwell had to deal with. So it's way the parties operate. One party fights it, says it's their lies, it's BS, whatever it is. They fight it tooth and nail. And the other is like, no, we have to do what's right. Let's cut this limb off right away before it infects the rest. And so it's just how they operate.
I didn't think I would say this, but David was kind of right. But kind of surprised me there. But I would agree. The two
parties, a blind dog can find a bone every once in a while. Go ahead.
Yes, that's right. But yeah, each party has their tactics, and I thought it was interesting that Swalwell, he never denied it. He just said I'm being mistreated. So he was still trying to walk the line without ever admitting it. But as Tony said, more of this stuff is coming out, and it's gonna there is certainly a fire behind this somewhere. And yeah, let's make an example that this is the right thing to do. When somebody is unqualified, you take them out of office. Hint, hint.
There were two resignations, by the way, too. Tony Gonzalez, Congressman Tony Gonzalez of Texas, who had an affair with one of his staff, not an affair, who was sexually involved with one of his staffers, and it was misconduct. It was, abuse of power. And he was being forced out as well. He was going to be there's going to be a resolution to kick him out. So he resigned, but the woman who he victimized killed herself. She set herself on fire and killed herself. So
and there's smoke.
Yeah, this is just such a difficult. All right, I'm trying to figure out how the best way to do this, because it's so sensitive and it's so easy to say the wrong thing. But I will tell you, the mantra is always believe women, believe women, believe women. And for Black people, that comes with baggage. Emmett Till is dead because somebody believed a woman who lied. The Scottsboro boys spent decades in prison for raping two white women they'd never met because these two white women lied. Brian Banks, more recently, ended up spending 5 years in a Georgia prison because a high school girl, they were in high school, had consensual sex in the stairwell. She was afraid she might be pregnant, so she claimed that he raped her. And it's Georgia. and he's black. So of course he goes to prison, and when he gets out, they get her on tape. While he's in prison, she and her mother sue the school, and she gets a couple of $1 million. They sue the school for the school district, and then he gets out after 5 years in prison. He was an NFL prospect and all of this stuff, and that's all gone. And was able to get her on a recording of her admitting that she'd lied, but she can't come forward and tell the truth now because she'd have to give all the money back that they won in the lawsuit. So this idea of just, somebody said in response to Swalwell that we shouldn't even question them. We should just go ahead and believe them. And I'm sorry. I think it needs to be treated like every other crime. I think when an allegation is made, you take it seriously, first of all. And I think that's the biggest problem is that we have a history of not taking these allegations seriously when a woman says that this has happened, or brushing them off.
But Brian, look at it this way. These allegations are going on.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to invest their money on something that is essentially now a known risk?
No. You're missing the point. That's not what the point is. Because all right, let's take it out of the. Let's take it out of the realm.
If someone's approaching me as a donor to his campaign, he's continuing to run. These allegations are out there. He says, let's let this all go. But I'm just saying that this is now a known risk. I'm just talking about risk here, just risk.
Well, but I'm not talking about strictly politics. I'm talking about allegations of misconduct like this in general. This idea that because the allegation.
But I'm just talking about the business risk of putting this guy out there as a candidate.
No, he made the right. No, he made the right choice. He was not viable. There was no reason he should have stayed in. He should have resigned his seat. And he should.
Okay. So we're on the same.
Also, after the women speak, there should and usually is an investigation.
Right.
That's where the truth usually shakes out. Right. So women speak out first, and then is there something here? Even that's a big difference from the past. So that's at least we're investigating. Now we're moving on from at least let's believe them to the point to investigate. I think that's all people are asking for.
Well, and that once they investigate and find out that the woman is telling the truth, that somebody is held accountable for it. But this idea of believe women and you shouldn't even question it, I'm sorry, I just have a problem with it. I think you treat it like every other.
I don't think anybody's saying let's blindly believe women.
Well, that's
blind.
That is what the mantra is.
I think
that is what the mantra is. And as I said,
the other line is
especially three guys
be
talking
heard.
about this.
They should be heard.
Yes, there you go.
It gets to a point where when it's what he said versus what she said, that is where a lot of these things get bottlenecked. And
well, they just fall apart when it's just that. It's like
right.
There's no conviction at that point.
Exactly. That's because historically, that's when women were dismissed. And that is why,
and that's why they don't want to come forward because they don't want to be stuck in that nonsense.
Right. There's all the shame surrounding that, and unfortunately, this isn't the first time this has happened. And I mean, we have people in the White House right now who have these allegations, and
beyond the allegations. You had a civil court adjudicate that Trump committed rape. So I mean, we can go beyond that. And actually, and just so I'm clear what my position on this is, I do believe that these women are telling the truth. I do believe that these women are telling the truth, and I think that these cases should be investigated. The rape that took place in Manhattan is being investigated. SVU is involved in it, so he's going to have Mariska Hargitay on his mind. But they are. I'm sorry, I had to go there. One of my favorite shows. I love that show. I'm sorry, I'm an addict. I love that show. It is being investigated.
I bet that's going to be like
of course
storyline.
Yeah,
of course it will. Of course it will. And don't you love how when they do this, when they do it, they'll put a disclaimer. Saying that this is not, it may have similarities, but it's not, taken from anything that's really happened, and it's not about real people. And then it's like the case is identical.
Right. And his name is Eric Swalwell, but completely different person.
Completely and totally different.
Or Pete Schmegasmith.
Here, the other thing, Tom Sawyer, who's executive producer and the booker on this podcast. Now we're talking before we let you guys into the room. And it's like, if if you have done all the things that he is alleged to have done, and again, so there's no misunderstanding about where I stand on this. I do believe that they're telling the truth. Um, he ran for president. He ran for president in the Democratic primary when Biden ran the last time so in 2020, I guess that is. Now he's running for governor. When you're running for positions like this, you were going to be under a microscope. They're going to go back and talk to your third grade teacher about stuff. So, why, if I knew that I had engaged in conduct like that, there is no way in hell I'm going to put myself on the national stage. So what is it? I mean, is it hubris? Is it ego? Is it,
It's
oh, I'll never get caught, or is it they won't care?
Is it seeing Trump get away with it?
I wondered about that.
You know,
Seriously.
clearly when he was first came on the national, I'm like, clearly they're going to dig up. He's in the development in New York. There's bodies all over the place, and he got away. So I'm like, oh, maybe that emboldens a certain type of politician.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's ego before that. They have, I mean, the reason they're in those positions and the reason they do those things is because they have a higher view of themselves. And yeah, maybe she won't come out of the woodwork and report me, and maybe my ego is big enough that I don't even have to worry about that. But Brian, you're absolutely right. All of these guys have such a history behind them that they assume isn't going to come to light.
So I had a conversation with Gabrielle Giffords many years ago before she ran. I actually met her at a wedding.
Before
and
she
was
got
talking
shot?
about politics and about when you run for a campaign. And there's this moment that you work with your campaign team and you literally air all your dirty laundry with them. You tell them everything. So if he was being truthful, this would have been known beforehand, before he made this announcement, because it's part of the process when you go into a campaign. Because, if these allegations existed, then they would have known about it. And so my feelings, they probably already knew about it before this came to light.
Okay, well, there's a video that I posted. Actually, it's on my Facebook, and maybe we'll put it on the channel here of Kevin McCarthy, the former House Speaker, who said that everyone in the House of Representatives has known that this conduct was going on by him for years, for as long as he's been there. They've known this, and in fact, he says that there was almost an informal policy that representatives kept their interns and kept their young staffers away from him, from Swalwell, and away from Matt Gaetz. Yes. Now, so again, if this is known, it's known by men and by women in the House of Representatives of the United States. Why the hell didn't somebody say something? Why the hell didn't somebody do something? Why, instead of let's just keep women away, young women away from the two of them? Why not offer the evidence in the resolution to expel them then? I just don't understand it. I just don't get it.
Honor among thieves, or maybe, I mean, they're complicit. And if they out them,
whispers. We've all heard whispers about famous people, and some of them don't go anywhere, and some of them, oh, Bill Cosby, the whispers were true. I don't. Maybe it's like, well, I don't have any proof. Someone says this hearsay. The right thing to do is like, let's look into that. But it's almost easier to say, well, let's go to lunch. Like it's a rumor at this stage.
It also takes often a high-profile whistleblower to come forward, or it takes multiple people to come forward, or they make a public announcement about wanting to move their own career forward. Like, there's usually some kind of
impetus.
Yeah, there's impetus for this to happen. Because, by the way, I'm sure there's a lot of skeletons in many closets with a lot of people, and they're probably shaking in their boots, going, "When's the shoe going to drop on me?" Who knows?
Well, when you're running for office, one of the things that your opponents generally do is oppo research. So that's the other thing that I don't get that's one of the rumors that's floating around, is that it was one of the other gubernatorial campaigns that actually, along with some influencers, some internet influencers, social media influencers, who pushed this story to the forefront. That's the rumor. Although I think it's Katie Porter's campaign that's been accused of it, and they denied that they had anything to do with it. But that's the accusation that I saw. So, but she's not the first person to run against him. Again, he's been what he did 7 terms. So in 7 terms, nobody did Oppo research to find out if there was something like this. When he's running for president, nobody did Oppo research to find out if there was something like this.
Or they did, and the rule is you don't talk about that. That is off limits.
I don't think he ever got to a threatening level as a candidate. I think that's where it really comes out.
That's true. That's a good point. The other thing too, just a couple other things. I just don't get this, and that is the dick pics. You have numerous women, even those who, he didn't get close enough to do anything with, who he sent over Snapchat pictures of his junk. And has there ever been a woman anywhere who just, on a first, I've never done internet dating. All right. I've never done it, I can't even say it, Match.com or any of that crap. And when my daughter was single, she's been happily married for 8 years now. When she was single, she did a lot of that dating, and she said a lot of these people, the reason why she met her husband that way was when she reached out to him and said hi, he said hi back, and she said you'd be surprised how many times that I would post hi, I'd send hi, and they'd send back a picture of their dicks. No, nothing. No explanation. Just here's a picture of my junk. Who does this?
Not even a what's up?
Not even a what's up. She goes, and I go, you're kidding. She goes, ask any woman. So I started asking it, and they go, oh yeah, guys, they do that all the time.
In my defense,
in your defense,
I like to show the worst part of me up front, and it's going to get uphill from there.
Well, in your defense, you were just looking for a medical opinion, weren't you? What do you think? Is it bending the wrong way?
Yeah, this is before my time. Like, I'm with you, and I'm happily with you, Brian. This is before my time, because I've known some people, some younger comics who like, oh, I get a dick pic, and this is like a thing where they're not shocked by it. It's just a thing. And I was like, that's not weird. And they're like, nah, it's just.
I'm wondering how this comes up. I just like.
Oh, you get aroused and then blood.
Oh, that's how it goes.
Okay.
That's how it goes. Blood flows.
It actually starts in the mind.
There's a pill you could take too, also.
Picture of Ernest Borgnine.
I mean, does this work? I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, because there's more than once that he's done it. So I mean, has it worked in the past?
Here's my feeling: if it works 1 out of 1,000 times, that's why they do it. Maybe once out of 1,000 times it'll think, I like those odds. Who knows?
It happened once. It could happen again.
My numbers.
There's an episode of How I Met Your Mother, which is one of my all-time favorite shows, called The Naked Man. And what the deal is there is this guy who goes out with women, and if it looks like he's never going to see her again, she'll leave the room for something, and she'll come back in, and he'll be naked. Be sitting on the couch naked or whatever. And he swears that it works 2 out of 3 times in terms of the woman going, what the hell? And yeah, a lot of stuff on How I Met Your Mother they can't do. There's no way they get away with it today. And this is 20 years ago. There's no way that they get away with it today. But I remember interviewing a sex expert and bringing that up. And she goes, oh yeah, that's probably about right. I go, you're kidding me. So it's a date that's not going well. It's a first date, and you leave the room to get a glass of water and come back in, and the guy's sitting on your couch naked, and that actually leads to something. She says, "Oh yeah. I go 2 out of 3 times." She goes, "Yeah, that probably sounds about right."
Wow.
So I don't. What am I missing? I guess is the question. What am I missing?
You've invited the wrong guest. Is who you've invited, Brian.
The wrong guest.
You should have invited the guys who send dick pics and just appear naked after, on the first date.
Well, you don't know who does that until the charges are filed. Generally, you have no idea who it is that does that. Also tied to this scandal. Now, Jesse Waters on Fox News, who is part of the show.
Jesse!
Yeah, see, I just don't watch it. I don't watch Fox News under any circumstances. None.
Oh, he's the worst.
None.
Is he the dumb one?
Pardon?
He the dumb one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he the one that spreads misinformation? Right. Is he the Is he the one that's a mouthpiece
No,
for?
he's got kind of like a bias, I
Yeah.
noticed.
So he's on the five,
That one.
and they're talking about this, and the woman who alleges that she was raped twice because she was too drunk to give consent and blacked out. And she is very well documented in terms of having talked to her friends about it, in terms of having been so messed up. She went to therapy, and there are notes that her therapist has about having to deal with it. So she's very well documented. She says that they were in a parking lot in his staff office, which is probably about 15 minutes from where I'm sitting right now, the office that he had here. And they were in a parking lot, and he exposed himself and wanted oral sex from her. And she started to do it until and then she stops and says, I'm uncomfortable. It's like in broad daylight. So Jesse Waters on the five, they're discussing this exact incident. And he says, and there's like a firestorm because he said this. He said that, quote, he was just whipping it out. Allegedly, he was just whipping it out in broad daylight in front of the intern. That's not the moment you do it. It has to be done in the moment of maybe some passion. That's what he says. That's how he responds to it. Now, so everybody's jumping all over this, and I didn't know this about him. Apparently, there's no apparently. He has said he's talked about. I guess he's on a second or third wife. He's talked about how his current wife, what he met while he was married, and she was one of his producers, and he wanted to go out with her, so he let all the air out of her tires of her car. So literally let the air out of the tires in her car so she would be stuck with him. And it ended up with them getting a date, and they started a fling, and the wife he was married to divorced him, and now they're married. Now he's
So
married.
it worked. We now have a new trick up our sleeve.
Yes, and then pull their ponytails if they don't like it.
See, it's just a what's wrong with people. I mean, I think about the role that media plays in all this because we're all close to the same age, and if you think about the stuff that we grew up watching sitcoms where the guy's coming on to the girl and she's saying no, and he says your lips say no, but your eyes say yes. I mean, how many scenes in old movies have you seen where the guy is forcibly trying to kiss the woman and she's hitting him on the back and
He
and
picks
then
her up and
all of a
walks
sudden she falls into it. I mean, that's the rape culture that they talk about. And so I think there are probably a couple generations of men who were indoctrinated in thinking that kind of behavior is acceptable, that kind of behavior is okay. Hell, Clark Gable did it.
Seriously, if you don't have a parent instructing and the schools don't do anything, I mean, they talk about sex ed, but it's about this is what happens to your body and this is how someone gets pregnant, but they don't tell you the rules of dating. And if your only source is movies and TV shows, I mean, I don't want to put all the blame on them, but that models how your mind works when you're.
Well, also because in the scenario you described, Brian, the guy succeeds. So it's like, oh, just keep holding on until she collapses into my arms.
Mm-hmm.
And her job is to eventually give in, just like in the movies. And so
right, there you go.
Both roles are
by the way,
identified.
he's the romantic lead. He's obviously doing the right thing.
How many rom-coms have you seen over the years, over the decades that have had that kind of stuff? Well, it's just weird to look at.
Well, the rom-coms all start with them hating each other. They don't fall in love and stay in love, and then that's it. Well,
when you look at the stuff that as I say, the stuff that we grew up on, even stuff that was innocuous, and you look at it now, like I took my daughter to see we're big Superman fans at my house. Big Superman fans. I've been a fanatic since I was a little kid. And they had like the 40th anniversary screening of on the big screen of Christopher Reeve's first Superman movie, which was just, remember what a phenomenon that was when it came out? Maybe you don't. I was a little kid. Anyway, so I bring her to see it, and I go, so what you think? She goes, I was kind of bothered by a couple of parts. Now, you guys have all seen it, right? Superman, the movie?
I was a small child the last time I saw it.
Yeah. And I go, well, so what's the deal? She goes, well, there are three kisses in the movie, and in none of the kisses in the movie is the person being kissed in a position to consent. And I go, what? And I thought about it, and she's right. The first one is, Superman has kryptonite around his neck on a chain, and Valerie Perrine jumps in the pool to pull it off of him and let him out, but first she kisses him. And then he says, "Why did you kiss me?" She says, "Because I didn't think you'd let me after." So he's not in a position to consent. Lois Lane is dead, and that's their first kiss. He's dead, and she's dead.
By the way, that happens in Snow White too. By the way,
no, you gotta kiss her
7 times.
7 times.
Yeah, and that's a tough one to get consent from. You have to go the next of kin, which is a weird.
Have him sign something. Is that kind of how it works?
Document there, yeah.
Well, anyway, next week we will have the woman's take on this, because I know this will still be in the news next week. But it's just a lot to think about. I mean, it almost makes you lose faith in people. It really does. Because,
almost.
I mean, go ahead.
I would say that it's not all people. I mean, this isn't Katie Porter isn't doing this. This is almost exclusively a male issue.
But see, the problem is that we don't know what anybody's doing. And that's what I mean about losing faith in people. I mean, as I said, here was a young guy, married now, three little kids. I liked where he stood politically. He fought for people's rights, all of this stuff. And this is going on. So, we can't, or Cosby, who I worked with a lot. Leading up to the year when the bottom fell out of everything. This is the last person. They would always have these trustworthy polls about what, which is why he was such a popular spokesperson, because it was like something, he would always be number 1 or number 2 for decades in terms of the most liked or trusted or respected, person, which is why he had all those endorsements. And then you find out that for 50 years, he's been drugging and raping women. So it's it really does. It's disheartening. It's just, it really makes you lose faith in people. But I think the difference, if we want to talk about politics, I think the difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party is that the Republicans, will look the other way about anything as long as he votes on my one issue: guns, abortion, religion, whatever, the way that I want him to vote. He can do whatever it is that he wants to do. We don't care. Rape, steal, rape and pillage. It doesn't matter as long as he's voting my way. And I don't think that the Democratic Party allows that. But if everyone knew that this was going on, maybe they do. I don't know.
I think
we'll find out next week.
I think the Republicans actually lean into it as a point of pride sometimes.
They double down. Yeah. All right, so I give each of you a question that was sent to you, so that we can get your close up, is how I call this. That I'll ask, take your opinion on, and then we'll open it up for everybody to talk about. So, David, we'll start with your question, and that is, there was a CBS News YouGov poll that asked Americans to describe their feelings on the Iran war in one word. So the top 3 were 68% said worried, 57% said the one word is stressed, 54% said angry, and then you go to the other end of it, and 32% said safe, 32% said confident, and 29% said proud. 59% say that the war is going badly, 62% thinks that Trump does not have clear goals. You think, as far as this war is concerned? So what would your one word be to describe the war in Iran, and why?
Mistake. That would be the one word. This was a mistake at the beginning, and the mistake. It's like it's like the unraveling thread from your clothes. Like, oh, I can just pull this off. It'll be easy, and then it's more and more, and all of a sudden the sweater's completely coming apart, and you can't. It's like, oh, I don't even know how to put this thing back together again.
And the emperor has no clothes.
A mistake at the very beginning, thinking that it wasn't a mistake, but because we're so much bigger and so much more powerful, we can't lose. But yet, an Achilles heel was found called the Strait of Hormuz. And now this has turned world economies upside down. And now this mistake, which is trying to be covered up, is getting worse and worse and worse. And it just, and they're still playing this bullying game of we set the stage of what needs to happen, and Iran knows we've got the Achilles heel. Period. That's what we got, and so that's what's happening now.
Let me ask this question to everybody, and that is in regard to this and our standing in the world right now. Are we now the bad guys?
Totally. Yeah. And
Oh.
mostly because we got rid of all of our diplomats. So we can't even negotiate anything because we're sending Jared Kushner, who has
Yes.
zero diplomatic skills, to go negotiate the most important region of the world just because.
Yeah, I feel
he has
really
$1 billion.
confident when he's out negotiating on my behalf.
I mean, it reminds me of when I lived in California and Schwarzenegger got elected,
Mm-hmm.
and which was ridiculous, but don't blame me. I voted for Gary Coleman. But
Who I met, by the way.
That's right. He ran.
He tried-
There were like
he-
100 people running.
he tried to bully stuff through because that is what he knew. That's how you do it. When you're a superhero or a super action star,
Or CEO.
you push stuff through. And he said it took him a long time to learn how to be a diplomat. And we don't have those anymore. That was one of the first things that he got rid of, were the lifetime
State
politicians,
Department people.
right? Who
So
knew,
what is-
who knew how
so-
to do all this.
Two things I want to mention on that, Robert. First is, and I heard a really good argument for, the comment about all these protests that are out there, and they say, well, nothing happens after them. Well, why do it? Why nothing happens? But one of the key things someone said is, I want the rest of the world to know that we don't agree with this idiot. So it's really a presentation to the rest of the world, like, we're really unhappy with this, just like you are.
Or the rest of the state. I mean, it doesn't have to be global. It can let your neighbors know.
Let your neighbors know, but also globally, everything knows.
Yes.
I mean, like the Iranian protests were like the people are not happy too.
Yeah.
So I do think it has the optics are good globally.
The optics are, and the goal is to play that down, which Trump always does. But I wanted to talk just also briefly about these ludicrous threats, of destroying societies that Trump made. But civilizations.
Genocide. I mean, to
Genocide.
actually post
But
a
the thing
threat
is,
of genocide.
what he's claiming is a war crime, that would be considered an illegal military request,
Right.
and that can't be carried out.
Well, when you have fired, and you got to remember that that Hegseth has fired most, if not all, of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, 8 people. And he wouldn't give a reason for him just because they were not aligned.
Yeah. And so if you have nothing but sycophants and loyalists, which is what, the strong men do and authoritarians do, is they fire anybody who is not, willing to toe the company line. We can't count on that. We can't count on the fact that it's an illegal war or illegal order. So therefore, those who are asked to carry it out are going to stand firmly and say, no, I'm not going to do that.
We can't count on it because they're sycophants and partisan, But the thing is that those sycophants go down to the individuals. Like, the individuals know it's an illegal order. They, the individual military personnel, they know it's an illegal order. They know that they're not supposed to commit genocide.
You know what I always wonder, and I'm thinking there might even be a book about this, is the crew of the Enola Gay who dropped the Hiroshima bomb, about what that must have done to their heads later on when they found out what, all the people they killed and saw the pictures of the destruction, and those that didn't die immediately, that were injured and wounded and sick and then getting cancer and all of this stuff. I mean, that must have been hard to live with. That had to have been hard to live with.
I wonder if there must be some stuff out there about how they felt subsequent to that. Because I wonder if you can compartmentalize, like, it wasn't my decision. I was just a cog in this wheel. Like how you live with yourself. I mean, even if you're just an executioner or whatever your job.
Well, it also plays into mob mentality. People do things in a mob that they normally would not do.
January 6th.
And also, when you're in the military, the default is to respond to orders. I mean, that is the default.
Well, that's all point of boot camp. It's to get you in shape and to break your individual will so that you'll do what it is that you're told without critical thinking.
And also, Brian, these days, I would think the people who did that might even think of themselves as heroes because they're staving this larger loss of human life in the long run by dropping this bomb. You know, like who knows what they think, because, you know, when you're in war, your mind is not acting like it is when the war's not going on, I think.
Well, like the Enola Gay was named after the mother of the pilot. I think it was one of the crew members' mother that they named. So the plane that's used to drop the most powerful weapon ever seen on the planet, you named after mom.
Wow.
Isn't that
so the mother of the bomber was the mother of all bombs? What was that?
No, that's later. That was
yes, that's the hydrogen bomb.
Yeah.
That's later. Okay, let's see. Let's move on. Robert, you're up next. And this is an interesting question. Abigail Spanberger, the Democratic governor of Virginia, signed into law a bill that would end, or that ends, not that would, that will end tax exemptions for Confederacy-related organizations in the state. So in Virginia, which was basically like, you know, I think it was the capital of the Confederacy. There are all of these Confederate organizations, the Daughters of, what is it? The Daughters of the Confederacy.
The American Revolution.
I mean, no, that's different. That's a different one. Daughters of the Confederacy. Founded in 1894, descendants of, and their mission is to honor the descendants of the Confederates. They get some kind of tax break, and there are a lot of organizations and groups like that. And they say that this law is discriminatory against them. It's discriminatory against them. You have got Trump putting all this Confederate crap back up. That was all taken down, you know, in 2020 after George Floyd. Mm-hmm. She is about to sign another bill that's going to change how they teach in the Virginia schools about the Civil War. Because I didn't know this. Apparently, they teach it a whole different way. It's called, the lost cause thing.
Right.
And a friend of mine who worked in the government, worked in city government somewhere in the South, was saying that they call it the War of Northern Aggression.
Yeah.
You know, but she's the question is this: those who are saying that taking away their tax status or changing their status or taking away their tax exemption because the fact that their ideology is to honor the Confederacy are being discriminated against, that it's discriminatory. Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
I think they should lose that status. I think the church should lose its tax exempt status. I think anyone who fought a war against the United States and lost shouldn't have the ability to put up statues. I mean, we don't have statues for all the English leaders who we beat in the Revolutionary War. It doesn't make sense. And I got to tell you, I live in Maryland, which is next door to Virginia, so we get a lot of the Virginia news, and we follow all of that stuff. And it is, some of the stuff was horrendous. There is a deep-seated nostalgia for the Confederacy. And it's apparent in all the campaigns for all the people running for office. Every election cycle, you see it over and over. And it's not, they might not verbalize it, but it is a strong part of who they are, because the parts of that state really believe that. And there's a certain part, when you get south of Fredericksburg, you'll see Confederate flags the size of houses flying all over. It's kind of scary. But I don't know what the legal grounds would be. Did they mention why that they are?
Well, the state legislature, the state legislature, somebody put in a resolution, introduced a resolution, I guess, introduced a bill, and it was passed and ended up on the governor's desk, and she supported it.
Well, there also has not been a universal, sadly, what this is also saying, that we're in 2026, and there still is not this universal acceptance that we want to eradicate this portion of our history. And the Germans did it, with Hitler. They wanted to eradicate it. They didn't want sort of profiteering of any sort off of Nazi Germany. And so they did it. We didn't.
Well, they
Simple
want
as
to
that.
they want to eradicate it from some southern school curriculums where they're downplaying slavery like it didn't exist.
Oh yeah,
So
or
they are kind of eradicating it.
or they're saying that the most ridiculous thing is that basically slavery was good because it taught the slaves a trade. So basically,
right.
it was like a vocational college with
And some of
whips.
them were happy with when they got to work for the first president of the United States. And
or the third, the guy
Yes.
the guy who wrote the Declaration of Independence, who's a slaveholder.
Well, Thomas Jefferson, he once told me, he said, an educated citizenry is a vital requisite for our survival as a free people. And so what I take from that is you have to be educated. And if you incorrectly educate people and let them think that the slaves were happy and learning skills and building up their LinkedIn resume, then you can manipulate that. And that's why, I don't know, that's why I think education is such a crucial thing. And the misinformation and disinformation we get on the internet just keeps the truth away from
that's why the right is anti-college, because they say it's in left liberal indoctrination, but it's actually no, you're just getting more educated.
Well,
and you can see through the bullshit more.
Authoritarian is they don't like schools, they don't like journalists, they don't like anything that is in the search for the truth, because they know that will get them out. And that's what maybe happened to Orban, who knows. But once people realize the truth, they're more likely to stand up and say, hey, how come the slavery thing, how come these slaves were so happy working for Mr. Washington and Mr. Jefferson? It's ridiculous. And I see it. I live in a very progressive place, but I drive 2 hours and it is the opposite side of the planet, it feels like.
I think that's almost any city, even Bay Area. You drive 40 minutes out, you can get suburb out. I live in Los Angeles. I first came to Burbank, which was a very right-wing little city, gun stores, right-wing share, they all have these
flags waving by the side of the road.
What?
Confederate flags waving?
No, not Confederate flags, but I'm saying every place has, these little enclaves here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's because there's this reputation by people who've never been to California that California is all that it's all Palm Springs and Beverly Hills.
No, it's fruits and nuts.
Yeah, 40 miles.
Fruits and nuts. Yeah, the land of
like
fruits
what
and
you
nuts.
said. You go 40 miles east in California, you could be anywhere in the Midwest.
And you go 40 miles. You go 40 miles west, and you're in the ocean. So there.
You go 40 miles up, you're on the moon.
There are places here that if you parachuted into, and nobody told you where you were going, you'd have no idea you were in California.
Yeah.
Redding,
most of
Redding,
California, really, geographically,
other than the major cities.
Yeah.
Once you get out of the major cities,
you got your college towns, you got San Luis Obispo, and you got your Marin-ish, but Sacramento and north is pretty right way. Besides Humboldt, all
the Central Valley,
Central Valley East. And south of LA is pretty right wing too,
Oh yeah, Orange County.
Orange County, that's the real estate Republicans, golf club, the Reagan branch. Still, dang it.
Who MAGA considers to be rhinos. Speaking of which, have you seen the war that Marjorie Taylor Greene has been waging against Trump over the last 24 hours over social media? I mean, she's telling people not to pay their taxes, to go on a tax strike, and don't, because it's tax day as we're broadcasting this live. If you're listening to it, you're hearing it on Thursday or after. But she is saying today, April 15 being tax day, to go on a tax strike, to send a message that we don't like how you're spending our tax dollars on bombs. That's not what we elected you for. So don't pay your taxes. So I'm sorry, I'm not listening to Marjorie Taylor. She's making some sense in terms of a lot of the stuff she's saying. But I'm not,
by the way, does that equate to yelling fire in a movie theater? Like, don't publicly announcing don't pay your taxes, which is saying commit an illegal act. I mean, is it like, could she be found? Is that free speech or not?
Yeah, that's free speech. Fire in a crowded theater is because somebody's going to get hurt.
But to not pay your taxes, it's illegal to not pay your taxes.
Right, but
so
that's
to advise, It's not free speech. Is it free speech to advise people to commit a crime?
I think
Yes.
this is a fine
Yes.
line. Like that's irresponsible speech,
Yes.
but it's
That's
not.
it.
It's not life or death. I don't think.
No, it's stupid, you know. And when the IRS comes and they audit you, and because of the fact that they
And you argue Marjorie Taylor Greene told me not to pay them.
I was
And they
just
go,
following
okay,
orders.
we're gone. Bye bye.
that woman that was yelling at the kid from Parkland who watched his
By the way,
classmates get gunned down.
Can I just say this about Democrats can be easily swayed? So Marjorie Taylor Greene was a strong supporter of Trump. And then she started becoming against Trump and started saying things that were against Trump, which every Democrat was like, all right, now she's one of us. No, she's not. She's still crazy.
But
she just
things are
saw
so
some
bad.
obvious stuff.
Things are so bad. She's the voice of reason. That's the problem. That's how messed up stuff is. That Marjorie Taylor Greene is the voice that I find myself on the same side as what's his name? Infowars.
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Oh yeah, Alex Jones is saying that Trump is crazy and they need to use the 25th Amendment on him immediately. I mean, that's what Alex Jones is saying. I can't believe that I'm listening to Candace Owens going, yeah, yeah.
But the sinister reason that we're agreeing with those guys on some extent is because these guys are so extreme right that it's an anti-Jewish. The Jews run everything, so they're against the Iran. They're pro anything that's we don't want these because there's such deep-seated anti-Semitism in these. You know, they think the Queen is a reptile. Like some of the beliefs of these guys is so crazy. You do a little deep dive. It's like a lot of it. Like so, same with Tucker Carlson. It's really like an anti-Jewish thing. That's the heart of this stuff, where they're dividing from Trump, which is that's what the heart of a lot of this stuff is.
Well, that's what she said. They say we're fighting a war we're fighting Netanyahu's war. Is what part of the party? Part of the
Tony,
anti-party line.
Are you saying that I should not have got a tattoo that says "What would Alex Jones do"? Because it's kind of fresh.
Cool. Because Alex Jones is also a funny British comedian.
That's what I meant. That's who I meant. If they.
Well, here's my question: is like he's made all these millions of dollars that he now has to pay to the Sandy Hook families.
Yeah.
I've never listened to his show. But my understanding is that it's all from selling supplements. You know, it's all sponsored by supplements. Number one, look at the guy. Who is going to buy supplements?
Well,
who's going to
increase your blood pressure
and all of this stuff. You know, why? If it's so great, why aren't you using it? You know, I'm looking at him going, "This is so wonderful. Why aren't you using it and buffed? You know, these things are so great." Tony, your question. The Michael Jackson bio.
First of all, thanks for giving me such a break from this heavy shit.
Yes, I know.
I mean, it's relatively.
I know.
Yeah, I got a good one. So thank you.
I gave you the light one. Well, there's so much horrible news.
Yeah.
But the Michael Jackson biopic comes out in a couple of weeks. I just got an invitation to the press screening to see it on Monday, and I'm actually looking forward to it because the trailer looks pretty good. But I was skeptical when I first heard about it because it's the estate and the family who are behind. I guess it's Michael's nephew who's playing him. Is that right?
I read what you sent me. Thank you for the
she's a nephew. Sure.
Well,
let me ask the question first because the viewers and listeners don't know the question, and that is there was a big article that I did send to you from the New York Times about how the estate is Michael Jackson's estate is trying to rehabilitate his image posthumously. Because there's a lot of money to be made. I mean, my understanding is that when Elvis died, he was worth approximately $2 or $3 million. And because of what Priscilla was able to do by turning Graceland into a museum and all this other merchandising, it's now worth something like $200 or $300 million. So there's a lot of money on the table here. So the question I have for you is, you know, he was never convicted of anything. It's another smoke and fire thing. And I've seen the documentaries, you know, Leaving Neverland and all that stuff. And, you know, it's very, very compelling. Do you think that he can be rehabilitated? His image?
it's interesting because we live at a time where things are happening so much. Like Louis C.K. is headlining this Netflix thing
Yeah,
here, so it's a similar.
that's shocking.
Shocking, yeah. And so I think it's like what we define being rehabilitated, because he's certainly. I mean, Kanye West just sold out 2 nights at SoFi. I mean, he made $33 million in 2 nights.
Are you kidding me?
No. So like that's Kanye West, who just said this thing like 2-3 years ago, right?
Who was dining with a Nazi, basically. At Mar-a-Lago, dining with a Nazi.
So I was taking all this.
Well, if you're going to dine with a Nazi, what better place?
He can be. I wouldn't even say rehabilitated, but I don't even lost a certain amount. Some people don't care about this, or they care, or they can compartmentalize. But I think some people just can separate the artist from the thing, and some people don't care.
Yeah, separating the artist from the individual.
Yeah.
Well, so, but like, let me ask you, like, posthumously, there are people who have, you think about like Roman Polanski and Woody Allen, who have got some.
Well, they're not dead. When you say posthumously, they got to be dead for it to be posthumous.
Well, posthumously, not posthumous. There you go. That's yes. But in cases, do you still enjoy their art? Can
you separate it from?
Yeah, can you separate it?
And then if you do a deep dive, there's almost, anybody from the 60s is like, oh, they had a 14-year-old girlfriend, or they had a 60. So it's
these offenses are not like we mentioned all these celebrities. They don't have equal offenses, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So this is very much a grayscale that shifts. Like, I got no problem with Nazis, but I got a problem with this. Who the heck knows?
But anyway,
by the way, don't anyone pull a snippet of that.
Wait. This is his question for his close-up for his snippet. Go ahead, Tony.
I think, and again, I think every biopic is kind of a gloss over a little bit. I mean, there's probably some exceptions, but you go down the list, and it's not my favorite genre because this is the director who did the Queen one, which I thought was a little glossy, and it was fine.
Well, I thought it was great.
I thought the acting was good, but I just thought it was a little, they're having fun knocking over the studio. It's like, I thought there's some real corny stuff in there. It's just like, again, I'm biased because it's not my favorite genre, because you kind of know what you're in for to some extent, story-wise. So you're looking for performances more, So it's like they're all kind of like, because they all have, if they use the music, they all have approval of the estate to some extent, or the publishers.
No, not just approval. I believe.
This was generated from them, I think.
And actually, they don't always have the approval.
Oh, they do. Look at music. You have to
look at to use their music. Yeah, but I'm thinking about famous people like like the Carolyn Bessette, John Kennedy Jr.
I was thinking of more of the
that they had nobody's. Well, you're talking about music, to use the music.
The Ray and all the.
Well, although. You
if
take
the
a look
estate
at
owns it, if the estate owns the money, owns the music, and Michaels doesn't, I don't think. Sony, he sold out to Sony.
But this comes from the family, I believe. This is generated. This does.
Well, the star, isn't he the cousin of Michael Jackson?
Yeah. And I think it ends in 88 or 89. So it ends. It doesn't finish the story. It just is like his struggle, Michael. So it is. It's about Michael and his struggle with music. The dad's the villain, whatever. So it doesn't. It kind of sidesteps the whole half of his thing. That's where we had the bad part of his legacy. So it is. I do think it's an attempt to whitewash, and also show their side of the story. And I think just a certain amount of people who don't care, or certain people who just want to be entertained, will like, it was good. I know he was a bad guy, but then you can't deny his talent. I see my mom saying that. I think it is. I think it is a whitewashing attempt, and I don't know to what extent beyond the already people who like him it will expand.
Because the music is good. The music is good. The music does hold up.
This is the first covering. I think the first solo album, which is so good.
It starts. That's where it starts. Is Off the Wall.
I think to me that's still my favorite. I mean, bigger sale Thriller was But there was a freshness to it. I thought,
My father-in-law had a platinum album copy given to him by Michael Jackson of the Off the Wall album.
Wow, did he work on it?
No, he didn't. He actually became friends with Michael Jackson. I don't know how,
Was
but
he a
he was
dentist?
he was a songwriter himself. My father-in-law for a period of time, and he wrote country music. Actually, he had a few hit songs, and but he befriended. And the funny story is that there was one day he had an opportunity to go. He was going to go see Michael Jackson, and he invited my wife, who was at the time like 6 or 7 years old, to go see him. And my wife was going to a friend's birthday party and said, "Nah, I'd rather go to my friend's birthday party." So she never know.
So would Michael Jackson.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
Had to go there.
Can't top that.
No, you
Nice one,
win.
Tony.
Congratulations,
The
Tony.
boys are back in town.
You won.
aren't they?
You won the show today. Oh my God, that is so incredibly wrong. I am. I was reading that it starts. This movie starts, I guess, with him going to record off the wall. He's like in his car, and kind of songwriting and humming music, And they say, he's black and he's got his afro. This is before he starts bleaching his skin and doing all that other stuff, crazy stuff. That I remember that they remember after he died, they put out a movie of. There was a theatrical release of a film of the concert that he was putting together, the concert that he was rehearsing, that he was about ready to go on this world tour when he died, which is why he couldn't sleep. And he took the propofol. He had the doctor give him the propofol that ended up killing him, was because he was so jacked up from all of the work to get this show ready. So they had all this footage from from the rehearsals that was just, I'm watching this going, man. If you don't know the other stuff and all you know is the music, it would have been probably, my view at the time was if that had been an actual concert, if he hadn't died, that would have been probably one of the greatest concert tours of all time. It was that good. And I was thinking about how my kids, only knew him, dangling babies out of windows and, Spider-Man masks and the Elephant Man's bones and all of this crazy shit that he was doing. I'm sorry, Robert. You look like you were going to say something.
No. I had forgotten about the Elephant Man and
The
some of that
Elephant Man
stuff.
bones and sleeping in an oxygen chamber and all of that crap.
I think I saw the same documentary, and he had a protege that he was going to introduce to the world as his backup singer. And I saw an interview with her, and she was ready to, conquer the world, and she had all that taken away as well. And now she's some nameless person that we might never even hear from again.
You know who was one of his backup singers and who sang backup on Thriller before she got famous? She was singing for him, Sheryl Crow.
Oh, whoa!
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that. I interviewed her once, and that came up. Yeah, she goes, "Yeah, I was a backup singer." And if you look on Thriller, look on the album, Son of a Gun. Yeah, her name's on it. She's credited. But a lot of a backup. Remember how huge that album was? Is it still the biggest
It's
selling
not
album
the
of all
most
time?
successful album of all time.
What
no.
what is now best
I
selling?
have to look that up, but I remember looking this up. It
got beat?
was. I mean, at
Taylor
the
Swift
time,
might have beaten it.
It beat out Saturday Night Fever, which I think at the time was the most successful.
My album's up there, one or two, I think.
Yes. What is the name of that album that
Which
I've
one?
listened to?
Ass Pocket Full of Whimsy.
Thank you.
Can I hear that on Spotify?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How does Spotify pay? My son is a musician and a songwriter, and he and his buddies have the studio, and he's
I
constantly.
take
putting
that
out
back.
music.
It claims. Hold on. It
Really?
is the best-selling album of all time. It
Still?
looks like. Yes, Thriller 51.3 million. It is still number one.
What else is up there, David?
What's number two?
The Eagles, the greatest hits, is 43.2 million. And am I reading that in writing? That's in millions, yes?
That's not even close. That's like 10 million. There's a 10 million gap, sales gap between number one and number two.
What am I? Release, reported sales. I'm sorry, I'm taking that wrong. No, I'm sorry. This is reported sales. Is this in millions? Hold on.
We're losing listeners.
Yeah. Well, you go ahead and figure that out.
No, 70 million. I'm sorry. This is total. What's the difference between total certified copies and reported sales? Maybe made $70 million and then
I think
51.3 million got.
We'll have all this figured out next week when you come back.
When you come back.
I don't know.
3
We'll have
female
the whole thing
comics.
figured.
David will have these numbers squared away.
Oh, all sales figures are showed in millions. Okay. So yes, 70 million. It's yes.
Now I thought that Taylor Swift
70
might
million
have come
copies, I guess.
Of
40
that
million copies. Okay, reported sales 70 million
close.
copies. There
Did you
go.
guys have it?
Or 51. Oh, no, I can't remember.
Did you
I
have it?
didn't have it.
I had it. I
You
had
didn't.
it.
I had it. I had it on a couple of different ways.
I was an
had it.
alternative music person at the time. So.
Oh, you were always cooler than all.
I heard it.
God.
I liked it, but I heard enough of it. It was there was
Oh,
no
God.
shortage of hearing it.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, now I got the 51.3. What I originally said, that's correct. The sales had to do with
Bottom
money.
line is knowing this number
It's a
one
lot.
is good.
It's
That's
a lot
enough.
of.
number one, then Eagles. Then after that is Eagles Hotel California.
Yeesh.
Then AC/DC Back in Black.
Oh, that's a great album.
Really?
That's a great album.
This one's a shocker to me. Right after that is Shania Twain, Come On Over. And then
I don't know from
Fleetwood Mac,
country.
Yeah,
Rumors.
sold Taylor Swift. That's crazy.
No, she's not on there. Hold on.
Yeah, I thought she was. That she
But then
had-
we've
had
got
broken into
Whitney
the top
Houston,
10.
The Bodyguard,
Yeah.
Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell, and
Wow.
Bee Gees, Saturday Night Fever at the end of that list.
So
No
that's 10.
Beatles.
Wow.
No Beatles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I'm sorry. I take.
No Schubert.
Okay.
I'm going
well,
back now.
okay.
I'm sorry. This
Okay,
is.
well, just leave it. We're good.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the top list
David
right
turned
there.
into accountant for us. We're good.
All right.
Just all you say was number one. That's it. That's
Number
all
one.
you say was you're
Still
right. It's
number
number
one.
one. Thank you.
And
That's
now
all we need
cost,
to know.
now cost to acquire customer per dollar.
I had it on vinyl and
Well,
I
I
had
don't
it
like
on
to be
cassette.
giving misinformation now.
Okay.
I had vinyl and I had cassette. So I had two on that list, I guess. I had three, actually. I had Saturday Night Fever. I remember I had Rumors.
Oh, rumors.
Rumors is a great
Great
album.
album.
I had
Rumors.
Rumors. No, I
Rumors
had Back in
and,
Black too.
I think of Rumors in Hotel California as real California's late
Totally.
70s album. My mom had them, and they just every song was just that was like a white person's. That's what you had. Is you had those two California rock albums,
Oh, that's what that was the white
So were
people
you-
music for California.
So your
So what about
parents
the
were
Beach
hip.
Boys? So
Is
what
that what
about
you're
the Beach
saying?
Boys?
Beach Boys were already. That was too late. My mom wasn't that lame.
Well, Pet Sounds is a good album.
Oh, it's a
Pet
great
Sounds-
album. But she wasn't.
Pet Sounds holds up.
She didn't like the Beatles or Beach Boys. She liked these two. It was like more contemporary. This was happening with 79, 78.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I
that's
gotcha.
what was going on. That was who's playing.
Are
Day
you
on the
keeping up with
Greens.
your alt cred, Tony?
Well, that was my mom, not me.
Is that a Thin Lizzy shirt? Is that what I'm seeing?
It is a Thin Lizzy too. That's why you said the boys are back in town.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was hoping I got that right.
So I'm curious. As I said, what started this whole thing is, and I haven't had this talk with my kid because my kid's got a bunch of music. Casey Cope, if you like, he does a rock rap fusion kind of a thing. But he's got a bunch of songs on Spotify, and he does this thing. His studio is called The Q, with the letter Q, and he has this thing called Camp, QAMP, every year, where a bunch of local musicians apply to get in, and he and his partners pick about 7 or 8. And what the deal is that they come in on a Friday, and by Sunday night they've got a completed album. So they come in on a Friday with nothing. They can't have anything. They can't have anything written. No riffs, no beats, no lyrics, nothing. And by Sunday night, when everybody leaves at like 10 o'clock at night, it's still got to be mixed and stuff, but they got a complete album. And then a couple months later, they do a live performance where they perform all the stuff that they wrote. But that's, it's like, being comics, I don't know if any of you are musical. I'm not. I mean, I can write jokes and I can write novels and I can write scripts and it comes easily to me. But thinking of a melody, or a tune that's never existed, to me, that's witchcraft, man.
And
That's voodoo.
getting it polished. To me, I think it would take months to shape all of these songs.
It is hard, you guys, but fortunately,
Oh,
Oh, and we're out of time. That's it.
fortunately, I've been working on this long. It's only 90-minute rock opera about Michael Jackson. Weirdly enough, in a Eagles style.
Okay, I thought you were getting ready to play something, but that's all right. And with that, we're gonna end it here because among other things, David is very busy and he's got things he's got to do. Thank you for gracing us.
Thank you for having me on. I love doing your show, Brian.
Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to mention?
Just if I'm hanging out with old comedy friends. Love doing that. Love seeing connect community. I don't actively do stand up anymore. But if you were in the cybersecurity industry, you should be tuning into our programming because it's the only fun, entertaining material about cybersecurity, and that would be the CISOseries.com.
All right, David Spark, what's up with you, Robert?
I'm going to be at the Throckmorton next week or the week after, the 28th, maybe 2 weeks from yesterday.
Are you doing a tour on the West Coast?
I've got a couple of shows in the area.
We should mention the Throckmorton is in Marin. It's if you are listening, you're not in California. It's in Marin County.
It's just north of San Francisco. It's a beautiful theater, and over the years I've seen people there like Robin Williams and the Smothers Brothers and Dana Carvey, and it's sort of a
Mort Saul. Woody Allen came there a couple times and played jazz.
Really?
Anyway, I also have on Wednesdays, like today, I have a live stream that I just finished myself. It's called Robert Mack's Virtually Funny. All of that information is on my website, robertmack.com. Hope you track me down that way.
Okay, and all of your social media for all three of you is in our will be in the show notes for this episode. Okay, Tin Lizzie, what you got going on?
I'll be in San Francisco in June with Helen Hong at the Punchline, and then also my buddy Arj Barker on the 15th coming back from Australia.
Arjun forever.
So,
say hello from us.
And I think I'll be with the Sklar Brothers at Cobb's the 19th and 20th. And also, I have a podcast with the great Laura Keitel called What We Thought Would Happen.
Are you making new episodes?
We are. We have. I don't know if they're even down yet, but we do. We have like 6 months in the tank. So
get to it.
Check that out. And she's wonderful. And boy, what a fun show. Great to see everybody.
All right. Robert Mack, David Spark, Tony Camin. Thanks for doing it.
Have us back.
Thank you, everybody.
And that's going to do it for us. If you like what it is that you saw, do me a favor and like and subscribe. If you were listening to the audio version of this, please go and leave us a 5-star review because that helps people to find the show. So we'll check you out next week. As I've been saying lately, if we're all still here next week. Until then, be kind to your neighbor. He knows where you live.
Thanks, Brian.
All right.